r/ask Reddit. What's a weird childhood ritual you still do today? I always make sure to say goodbye to all the household pets before leaving. I tell my cat he's in charge of the house while I'm out. I have 2 cats, so I put the oldest in charge lol. I always tell my dog I love you. Be good, don't die. She is 14 and I fear if I don't tell her this I will come home and she will be dead. I have even walked all the way to my car before just to realize I didn't say it. Then walk all the way back and be late for work just to say it to her. Walk along ledges instead of the footpath. I still do this. I also find myself strategically avoiding cracks in the sidewalk. Whenever I eat, I always leave the best for last. Eat a little of the good part first, then move on to the less good parts. If the world ends in the middle of my meal, I don't want to miss out. This is the correct answer. Eat all the good parts first. Less one bite forkful. Save the last bite for the end. Rushing upstairs or into bed after turning out the light. Sometimes I try to walk to prove to myself I can do it, but then I hear something and the adrenaline kicks in, so I book it. Whenever I go up my staircase, I still climb my way up. You know what sucks? This is an incredibly efficient way to get upstairs or travel in general, but society has decided we'd rather exhaust ourselves so we don't have to look like badass apex predators using all fours to get where we're going. Whenever I eat a sandwich, I start from the crust, so I have all the fluffy part in the end. Been doing this since I was 5. I do this with Pop-Tarts. I do it with pierogies. Once when I was a teenager, I was all dressed up for something, in heels, and I did a little mock tap dance in the kitchen. My mom looked at me with a little smile on her face and said, "You know, you used to do that when you were 2 years old anytime you wore your dress shoes." Still do. Dress shoes are for tap dancing. Fancy shoes are definitely for tap. I have a galley kitchen that leads through the center of my house. I like to do the traveling triple buffalo along its length to make my soul laugh. Although now I am larger and actually sound like a buffalo hoofing along. Tap dancing is forever. Make sure the tongs still work every time I pick them up. Go to make the click clack noise. I can't sleep with any limbs hanging off my bed or the dead dog will lick me. When I was a child, my mother made a large round rug out of old pants. It's beautiful with lots of bright colors. We loved racing around it as children, pretending it was a round racetrack or doing an Indian dance around, pretending that the red center was our fire. As an adult, my mother gave me her old rug. I saved it from being trashed as it had no special meaning to her. When I'm pacing my house while talking on the phone or thinking, I catch myself walking around in circles on the rug. It's like my own personal sticky trap. When I go to the beach, I always draw a circle around our stuff, you know, to protect us from the sea bear. When I was a kid, I'd always eat one thing on my plate at a time, unless it was something like corn and mashed potatoes. Then I'd mix that together. I'm a grown man these days, still eating everything individually off my plate. Apparently it's noticeable because people have questioned me about it. These days I just tell them that if I'm poisoned by my constituents, they'll know which item was poisoned. That's a great answer. I need to start blaming my constituents for more things. If I can't sleep on my stomach with my right knee pulled up and left arm straight out under my head, I can't sleep. Sucks when you have shoulder issues. Reverse the sides. But that's how I sleep when no other position will work. Makes me super sore in the morning, but at least I can sleep. Put a pillow under your armpits to help with the impingement of the shoulder joint. It will improve the angle. When I'm on a hike, I pick up a rock and carry it for about an hour. Then I put it down in a nice spot. I've done that since I was a kid so rocks could change horizons and see the world. That's adorable. I guess. It used to be a real moral dilemma as I debated uprooting the rock and taking it away from its family, but ultimately I always end up doing it. This is going to sound silly, but every night before I fall asleep I'll lay in bed and write stories in my head. I thought I would grow out of it eventually, but now the stories are just way more complex lol. I thought it was just me. I have an elaborate sci-fi story going on and have done for years. I never remember any of it until I start falling asleep. I do this too, and have been doing so my entire life, building entire worlds in my head that I have no interest in showing to others. They are mine and mine alone. They are called pirachisms. Happen to be more common than one may expect. When I see the clock is at a specific hour exactly, like 7 o'clock, I'll very softly say bong that number of times like I'm a grandfather clock. I blow in my cup before filling it with liquid. I used to think that blowing in the cup would remove the germs. I do that too, but only to cups I use for myself. I do it to remove possible dust, but in reality I probably blow spit all over. It helps with detecting dirty cups that roommates have put in the cupboards, though. When I eat a cosmic brownie, I always eat the side with less sprinkle thingies first so I'm more satisfied when I finish the whole thing. Walk on the side of the staircase so it doesn't creak as much. Didn't want my parents to know I was up and about. I sort multicolored candies, Skittles, M&Ms, etc. into their respective color groups and eat them one color at a time. But I save one of each color for last and eat that group all at once. When I pee, male, I hold my shirt all the way up with my chin. My mum taught me and my brothers about the superstitions with magpies when I was young. Seeing a magpie alone is bad luck, but you could get rid of the bad luck by saying hello Mr. Magpie. How are you and your family today? None of us believe the superstition, but we still do it. If I'm in public, they get a little salute, but still ask the question in my head. Good morning Mr. Magpie. How's your wife and children? I got told it defeats the bad luck of seeing a singular magpie. Saluting makes me feel like less of a loon for taking to myself. Suppose I still do. Saluting at a bird. I got my dog Snoopy when I was 10 years and ever since he was a puppy he had this love for lettuce. He would go absolutely nuts for it and so whenever I had a sandwich or a burger I would give him some of my lettuce. Over the years it became a ritual that whenever I prepared any food that involved lettuce for myself, I would grab extra lettuce for him so I could toss it to him as I ate. He passed away 4 years ago after almost 17 years together, but I still find myself grabbing that bit of extra lettuce for him. I was at Burger King one day. An elderly man came in and asked for some lettuce. The employees acted like this guy was a weirdo. Lettuce? You just want lettuce? He continues. I was just in the drive-thru. I ordered other food. I asked for an extra side lettuce and didn't get it. Please, I'd like a side of lettuce. The manager walks up and asks what the problem was. He says there's no problem. I just want a side of lettuce. Charge me for a Whopper if you need to but I only want the lettuce. The manager says you only want lettuce? I can get that for you. She walks away and comes back with some lettuce wrapped in the paper they put burgers in. He thanked her, walked outside and placed it on the ground where his lil pup ate it up. It was a heartfelt moment for me. As a kid, I was terrified of vampires. Due to watching the original made-for-TV Salem's Lot, I convinced myself that if I slept with the covers up to my chin, they couldn't bite my neck. Didn't work, but I still sleep with covers up to my neck when I lay down in my coffin in the morning. When I eat marshmallow cereal, I always eat the cereal part first and save all the marshmallows for last. Same with berries and Cap'n Crunch. I still shake the milk carton before pouring it. I think this came from when my dad left and all we could afford was powdered milk, but I honestly cannot drink milk if it hasn't been shaken. I feel like it won't be uniform. Normal milk gets nice and frothy when shaken. I'm 18 years old. Still check my closet each night before I go to bed. While it used to be for monsters, now it's for the creeps horror movies have warned me about. Sometimes when I sleep, I keep one leg in the blanket and one leg outside of the blanket so I'm not too hot and not too cold. I called it the banana split. If there are any biscuits with layers that I'm eating, X, Oreos or wafers, I would always eat most of them by taking apart each layer and eating them one by one. I always like just licking the Oreo cream then eat the cookies after. I feel really successful if I can't take off the cream in one whole piece. I still pick on girls that I like. Pretty much exclusively my wife nowadays. Haha yeah, but it went from being mean as a kid to being playful now. When I fall asleep, I like to pretend I am very cold and in a cave outdoors. I've done it all my life. When I became a mother, I couldn't imagine it without also imagining my daughter was there. But even in this imaginary scenario, I had to imagine that she was there with me, but somehow safe and warm in her pack and play in a safe sleep position. Until a few months ago I stood up to wipe. Had no idea I was doing something weird, until my wife walked in and she has been making fun of me ever since. I always count the stairs when I climb them. I put milk in my ice cream. My dad grew up very poor and always moving around, so even as a kid he learned to stretch a buck. This was back in the 70s. When I was a kid though, even though my dad had pretty decent money, he would still pour milk into my ice cream and turn it into basically a big bowl of milkshake. To this day I still do the same and I'm 25. It's just how I enjoy ice cream. Makes it a little less sweet, and you feel like you are overindulging on a ton of ice cream when it's about 1/3 RD milk. On car trips as a child my parents informed my sister and I that there was a force field at state borders that causes the car to swerve back and forth. When disputed, our father would hold his hands up off the wheel to prove that he wasn't doing it, of course. Since we were buckled up, we couldn't see his knee. It continued well past the point that we figured it out. My boys have figured it out at this point, but still enjoy the farce, and I would hope that their kids will too, someday. My dad would offer me the best bite from whatever he was eating. The bite of the cheeseburger where the cheese is curled perfectly over the edge of the hamburger, the center bite of a steak, the end point of a piece of pie. He would let me examine his food and point to the best bite which he would then feed me. I do the same for my kids and my husband, and I do this for each other. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.